about Pluto, and more specifically, Pluto's transit through Aquarius, which started back in 2024, but is going to last 20 years. And why we're going to bring it up now is because Pluto has been retrograde for the last 5 months, which isn't uncommon for these outer planets to go retrograde for these really long periods of time. But he turns direct on October 13th. And I love to talk about Pluto from a personal perspective of how it's going to individually impact you and what are the things that we typically have to work on or work through during a Pluto transit, and what the beautiful gift on the other side of a Pluto transit actually is. Because a lot of us, when we hear about the planet of death, rebirth, and transformation, we get a little bit of like, ooh, that sounds intense and that sounds scary, and I'm afraid of this transit. When in reality, there's nothing to be afraid of if you are willing to go deeper and do the inner work. And that's kind of what Pluto represents, is that death of the old you, or maybe the old way of thinking, or an old perspective or situation or experience or behavior or habit that needs to die off. You need to transform it in some way of how it shows up in your life so that you're able to be reborn into this new version of you that is fully empowered. Because one of the things we typically see with Pluto energy, either you have a strong Pluto in your natal chart, your birth chart, maybe it's next to your sun, next to your moon, next to one of your angles, such as your ascendant or descendant. Maybe it's, making a square to some of those planets. If you have a strong Pluto presence in your natal chart, you kind of already resonate with Pluto energy, and you probably experience Pluto way more on a daily basis. Whereas collectively, when we have a big Pluto transit and then how it impacts your chart individually and plays out for you during that set time, which Pluto transits usually last about 20 years, that we see a theme of this death, rebirth, and transformation in specific areas of your life. So we all also have, every single one of us, around the age of 40, which is funny because we call it a midlife crisis, when in reality we have some major astrological transits that everybody experiences around this age, such as your Pluto square. So Pluto, by transit, squaring your natal Pluto in your birth chart. We all experience this around the age of 40. And so we naturally have the death of an old you and stepping into this new version. And Pluto represents, in astrology, it's a more spiritual, deeper planet because it's an outer planet. Don't come at me about if it's a planet or not, but in astrology, we consider it a planet. And the archetype of that planet, how it's impacting you. And Pluto often will show up as some sort of power struggle because ultimately it represents your soul's will, right? The will to come here on Earth School, where it's not fun sometimes, right? Where it can be heavy, it can be dense, it can be intense. It can be a powerful catalyst for your growth and evolution. And so it's like, in what ways are you giving that power away to outside forces or external situations or people that you need to learn how to take that back? And to me, that is the lesson that Pluto comes to show us here, is where are you giving away your power, and the need to empower yourself instead of allowing others to manipulate and control you. Because sometimes that's what I see show up, especially somebody who has a strong Pluto in their chart. I do. I have Pluto conjunct my Sun and my Venus and my Saturn and all these things. And I live under my Pluto line in astrocartography. So Pluto and I are like best buds, all right? I've gone through my Pluto squares when Pluto was in Capricorn squaring Libra, because I'm a Pluto and Libra generation. I also, this is a whole other side note, we tend to see generations like Gen X, millennials, etc., have Pluto in the same sign. And so Pluto oftentimes will be associated in astrology with our generations and the lessons and the power struggles that those generations go through collectively. I'll make another video on that. Right now we're talking about what the hell am I supposed to do with this Pluto transit through Aquarius, and what does it mean for me? So if we look at the sign Aquarius, we are looking at over the next 20 years, so 2024 through 2044, do we have Pluto in Aquarius? We are seeing in our life the outdated structures, more so from a societal perspective. When Pluto was in Capricorn the last 20 years, we saw more so like the structures, like the physical structures, the governmental structures, there's things like that, like physical, the housing crap, like things like that we saw happen. Well, when Pluto's in Aquarius, it's more of the humanitarian struggles, the societal, the things that we're seeing play out in how we revolutionize things. It's how we rebel against the norm when it's in Aquarius. And so we're going to see collectively that theme individually show up, where you might be noticing this need to buck the system in a way, or this need to speak out against something that just doesn't feel in alignment with the consciousness of our society. So I think that that's really something important to pay attention to during this Pluto and Aquarius transit. I would love to go through individually each sign. Specifically watch for your rising sign, because I am talking about where this is all playing out for you. And in astrology, the where comes from the house placement. So the houses in astrology are going to tell you where something you're experiencing something, because they give the dimension of experience. So houses are where. So when we talk about horoscopes and you want to know where, the most accurate is your rising sign placement, because that sets the tone for your chart. That's going to be the sign on the cusp of your first house based on the time and place of your, and obviously date of your birth. And then we can kind of see a bigger picture. You could obviously watch for your sun sign, because Pluto's going to be influencing that as well. So I'm going to go through each individual sign next. So how we can work with this Pluto energy in order to feel more empowered through it, instead of the fear of the intensity of this transit creating havoc or chaos or a negative expression of the intensity. Because if you refuse to work with the Pluto energy, then you're out of alignment with the purpose of this transit. And so then you often are going to experience the struggle of the transit. But if you embrace this transit, if you embrace sometimes the intensity of Pluto, or Pluto's desire for you to go deeper, to look beyond the surface, to take away these constructs that have been placed on you, right? That society says you should do something, or should do this, or should do that, and really get to why I, as a soul in this human body, am here, right? And what does this mean for me? Then on the other side of Pluto transits, you get a gift, a beautiful gift. It's like coming out of the cave and being like, here is beautiful sunshine, beautiful food. Here's something lovely because you just went through hell, right? And I'm joking, because it's really not. But it is telling us to do something that we normally might find uncomfortable, but it is necessary. So let's start with Aries. Okay, Aries, Pluto in Aquarius is actually happening in your 11th house. And what this means is that you're having some transformation occur when it comes to your friendships, when it comes to your network, when it comes to your vision and goals for the future, when it comes to how you find people who feel supportive to you, right? Where maybe you might be saying goodbye to some old friends that don't necessarily fit with this new you, with this version of you that Pluto says, hey, like, let's take away the shoulds, let's take away the need to people please. I don't know, Aries, you're pretty good at not doing that. But let's just say, let's take away this need to fit into old friendships or old supports or old networks that no longer serve your goal. So that's something really important to pay attention to over the next 20 years, right? When Pluto is in Aquarius. But right now, as we feel this month, Pluto stationing direct in Aquarius for the first time ever. It's in anybody's lifetime that we've been alive. And it's important to recognize and to start looking at the support systems in your life. Who feels supportive? Who doesn't? What are qualities you look for in friends? What are qualities you look for in organizations that you want to join? What are qualities you look for in networks when it comes to, let's say, if you're an entrepreneur, because a lot of Aries energy, you are. You like to be your own boss. What is working? What's not working? And how to make the shifts and remove the things that feel like they drain you instead of energize you. So that's important. Taurus. Pluto in Aquarius is happening in your 10th house. So all fixed signs, including you, Taurus, are going to feel this Pluto in Aquarius transit a bit more because Aquarius is your fellow fixed sign. And so you're getting a stronger activation, a square from Pluto during this time. So there's an energy of creating tension so that you make change. Because we know, Taurus, you like to stay in your comfort zone and you're determined to make things happen and not kind of buck the system in a way or make a super big change. But Pluto in Aquarius is saying like, I think a change is needed, especially in the area of your work, your career, your mission in life, the roles you play, because this is happening in your 10th house. So if you are feeling like I can't, this is not sustainable, the work that I do, the career I have, how I share my mission with other people, what are some of the roles that I'm playing. If for some reason it feels draining or it feels like I've given too much away of my power or of myself to this work or this mission, maybe there's adjustments that need to happen that Pluto is saying, let's try something different. Aquarius, although fixed, loves to be inventive and be the revolutionary and a bit of a rebel in the sense of let's approach this in a different way that feels more in alignment with your soul's mission, your soul's will. What did your soul come here to do? That's what Pluto in Aquarius is asking you during this big transit. So as we are going through these next 20 years, this theme is going to repeat for you. And it's going to say you need to take a look. And the longer that you put that off, the more Pluto is going to put the pressure, the tension, the friction to make you pay attention and make a change. So don't be afraid to make a change, but make sure that change really is coming from what your soul wants to do, not what other people are saying you need to do or what you think you should do or what society says you should do. It's what does your soul want to do. Gemini, this is happening in your 9th house. So Pluto transiting in Aquarius in your 9th house is talking about your perspective, your beliefs, your desire to share your wisdom. And so there's this energy around, the energy is really about, there might be an outdated belief or perspective that's coming up for you to remove. I actually get a lot of people with this transit who might have really had a very big spiritual religious pressure or something that's coming from a belief that's outdated, that you need to do things a certain way, that how you share your wisdom with the world or what you think or how you experience life or the perspectives or beliefs that you have, they're going to be shifting over the next 20 years. And one thing that Pluto in Aquarius in your 9th house is asking you is to kind of expand your horizons, get out and travel more, read more books, take classes, that are, exploring different cultures, different things, so that you open your mind, which, hey, Gemini, you are ruled by Mercury. You love to learn. Like, open your mind to something new and different. But because it's the ninth house, it's more about experiencing it than just reading about it or listening to it. That's going to be Sag energy because that's the third house for them. But for you, it is a lot around getting out and having these experiences that really shift your belief system. And you're going to be releasing a lot of outdated beliefs during this time. Okay, Cancer, this is happening in your eighth house. And I want to send you so much love because an eighth house transit of Pluto it's even deeper than a regular Pluto transit because Pluto co-rules Scorpio, and Scorpio rules the eighth house. And so the eighth house is such a deep emotional experience that's very much around emotional healing of old wounds, of wounds that go like beyond just this lifetime. Sometimes it's beyond the surface of everyday life. It's the deep core, wounding to your will, to your desire to make changes or to act in accordance with your soul. And so naturally, Cancer, you tend to have some family wounding often because you are naturally ruled by the moon, which connects to that energy. And the eighth house is our water house, one of our water houses. So there's very much about your emotional foundation, but it's the deep emotional foundation. It's the emotions that you bury. And so when Pluto's transiting through your eighth house, there's a lot of deep healing work. So this is a really beautiful time to start a therapy regimen, to try deeper healing methods than maybe you've done in the past. Pluto's like, you will benefit from this if you give it a try, especially more like EMDR, somatic healing, maybe some more spiritually based healing. I might even say some plant medicine work, anything along those lines that's really going to help you get even deeper and remove the layers of all the crap that was placed upon you, especially maybe from your upbringing, that would allow you to kind of get back to the core of who you are, and that the actions you take are coming from your truth and not others' truths. So find somebody to work with during this time. You've got 20 years, right? Not saying this has got to do it right now, but really put that intention in motion, because where our intention goes, our energy flows. And right now, Pluto's like, your energy needs to be focused on your deep inner healing and really feeling more empowered emotionally. Cancer, naturally, you are a very sensitive emotional sign because you are a water sign. And so you tend to take on a lot of emotions from your surroundings, especially imposed upon by family often. So I think if there are generational or family wounds to heal, this is a really beautiful time to do some of that work. So having somebody that you can work with is important. Okay, Leo, the Pluto in Aquarius is activating your seventh house of relationships. And so there's a lot of relationship work to work through. A lot of old relationships falling away. And this could be relationship dynamics too. It doesn't have to be an actual person. Because let's say you're in a relationship, let's say you're married or committed and you're in a relationship and you are both willing to do the work, it might be a beautiful time to release these old relationship dynamics that keep repeating for you and keep creating issues in your life, because it's going to bring up a lot of the crap around relationships for you that you don't want to look at. So how are you showing up in relationship, and how are others showing up for you in relationship? And do these dynamics or relationships serve you in the best way? And so I think it can be a really beautiful invitation to do deeper healing work around relationships and or relationship dynamics in your life. You might be calling in super karmic, strong, intense relationships during this time. If you aren't currently committed, or if you are committed, like I said, that you're really calling in relationship dynamics or issues that will show up to really address the root of many of these. And with Pluto, there's often a bit of abandonment issues with Pluto. So there might be some themes for Leo around abandonment that come up. And it's important that you get to where this came from. It's either in this lifetime, past lives, or both. Often when I work with clients in past life regression, we'll see that some of this stuff is repeating. Pluto does have a strong connection to genetics. So there's also, again, like I said, for Cancer, because Leo, you were ruled by the sun often points to father in astrology. So sometimes there could be things that are brought on by the father figure in the life that need to kind of be worked through, that might be showing up in your relationships. Because guess what? Relationships are our greatest mirrors for the stuff that we don't want to see, because other people reflect back what we can't see sometimes. So Leo, during this time, it's really important that you're doing some work around your relationships. You've got 20 years, right? So let's start now so that we can have Pluto on our side instead of Pluto really pushing us. You are a fixed sign, so Pluto in Aquarius is going to oppose your sign. So oppositions do bring obstacles or tension, just like Taurus is experiencing, your fellow fixed sign. So you might be met with a lot of resistance or opposition in your life during this time. Virgo, this is happening in your 6th house. So Pluto is often going to bring up, when transiting through the 6th house, health and wellness issues that are beneath the surface that need a little bit more deeper healing work than just diet and exercise, okay? There's something else happening here. This could be a really powerful time for you to take back your health, your wellness. Maybe you've given it away to other people. Maybe you've allowed other things to block your desire to work through that energy, and maybe you have kind of allowed other people to dictate what you do daily as routine for your health and wellness. So now it's about finding what works for you and removing what doesn't. And I love Pluto in the 6th house for investigation of what might be going on. So I definitely recommend, when individuals have Pluto transiting their 6th house, to do more testing, to seek more advice and guidance from medical professionals, especially those who might do integrative health or holistic health or preventative health, naturopathy, acupuncture, Chinese medicine. Like, get a full picture, not just one picture, right? Get a full picture. So there's a lot of power being taken back when it comes to your own health and wellness, your daily routines, and also how you are of service to other people. Because the 6th house is how we are of service. And Virgo, naturally, you're naturally somebody who wants to be of service, who wants to help other people. But how you're being of service is it in alignment with your soul's desire in this lifetime? And are you living in alignment with how you truly want to show up for yourself and other people? So there's a beautiful energy with this transit over the next 20 years of really getting a bit stronger in that area of your life and really taking back. I typically see when Pluto's transiting the 6th house, you might really benefit from wellness routines that talk about increasing strength, like strength training, things like that. A focus on building back the courage that you need in this lifetime. Okay, Libra, this is happening in your 5th house. And so Pluto transiting through Aquarius is really going to highlight what blocks your ability to experience joy, what blocks your ability to experience pleasure, and or are you overcompensating and escaping through things that bring you joy and pleasure. So there's something really interesting about the dynamic here of Pluto saying, like, don't give away your power to the dopamine hit, right? Don't give away your power to something external, that you're seeking joy externally, when in reality, joy is already within you. And so there's a really important message with Libra during this time to find how to love your inner child and know that joy automatically resides within you and that you don't need it. You don't need to find it through other people. You don't need to be giving away your power through other people or things that give you a quick fix, right? Like if we want sustainable joy, sustainable happiness, you've got to go inward and find that within yourself, because we all have it. So it's like, really love your inner child, Libra. Find hobbies, get creative. And you're also going to notice that this naturally then allows you to express yourself in a really beautiful way, because one thing I see Libras struggle with is the fear of expressing themselves because they're afraid of people's reaction. And with Pluto and Aquarius, Pluto is just like, yeah, we're not going to be afraid anymore. We are going to express ourselves and allow we're not going to be afraid of the reaction from others. We're going to be so in alignment with our soul, and our inner child is like so happy. We're loving them. We're nurturing them. We're feeding their creativity, that we're going to be in the flow and allow natural creative expression to flow outward without the fear of someone's reaction coming back to us and then making our little child hide again. So Libra, that's the work that Pluto and Aquarius is asking you to do. I would definitely recommend trying to answer the question, what are the things that bring me joy? And maybe even more so, what are the things that bring the joy out of me? Because it's already within me. Scorpio, this is happening in your 4th house of home and family and deep foundational roots. Some of you may, with Pluto in Aquarius, it may expose or create family things that drive your transformation. Maybe it's a loss of a family member. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying, if this is something you've experienced recently, starting back in 2024, that process really stirred up some emotional things for you. Scorpio, you are naturally emotional. You don't show it like other signs do, because you're kind of like, I have to trust you first before I show you an emotion. But you feel things so deeply. And Pluto is one of your co-rulers. So you're not uncomfortable with deep feelings. But with Pluto and Aquarius, it might bring up uncomfortable things that maybe you didn't want to fully go into because you were afraid you were going to get lost or like drown in the emotion. So what I love with Pluto in the 4th house is this is a really great time to find somebody to work through, to do deeper foundational work, like EMDR, somatic stuff, really like therapy that goes beyond just talking. It gets into the deep waters of your soul and in your psyche, and allows you to process things connected to family, connecting to upbringing, connected to your root system, in the sense of how you feel secure emotionally. Like, what brings you emotional security? Let's seek more of that over the next 20 years. Let's stop with these power dynamics that are naturally bringing up struggles that kind of keep you in the deep water, and like almost like you feel like you're drowning emotionally. So don't be afraid. Trust issues are typically something I see with Scorpio energy in general. It takes a lot for you to trust somebody. It takes a lot for you to allow them to see the depths of you, because then you're afraid that if they truly see what's beyond the surface, like they're going to get scared and run away. Don't allow that to happen anymore. Allow somebody to see everything, and the right person and the right people are going to stick with you because they're going to love every side of you. And they're going to love that you are being truly intimate, because intimacy, and anybody with Scorpio energy in this lifetime is working through what it means to experience true intimacy. Intimacy is about allowing somebody to see you fully exposed and naked on the soul level. right? It's that dream that you have when you're standing in front of a crowd of people and you're naked and like everybody sees you. And sure, on the outside, Scorpio, you're sexy. We know it. Like, you're just like, see me naked. But like, you're only showing a certain part of this exterior part of yourself. It's like, no, 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 no. Like, intimacy, if you really want like deep connection and emotional security, letting somebody really see everything, and the right person will not be afraid to see that. And so you're taking back that power dynamic for you of, I am safe to fully be seen. And I feel emotionally secure when I let others fully see me. Sagittarius, this is happening in your third house. Pluto and Aquarius transiting your third house is about your perspective, your mindset, mindfulness, okay? One thing people don't really often talk about with Sagittarius energy, because you are a mutable fire sign, I often see people with Sagittarius energy struggle with mental health because your mind's like always going and you're always wanting to know why. And like, and what I mean by that is like anxiety, for example, rumination. And so if you are experiencing that, obviously seek help, but like talk to somebody. And I honestly think talk therapy is a really good opportunity during this Pluto and Aquarius transit. But it's more about, what are you not processing, right? And you're trying to escape. What are the ways in which you're escaping that you need to come back to the mindfulness? I love this for setting up more mindfulness routines in your life. Maybe listening to podcasts that really get you into a deeper experience. If you have not yet listened to Ram Dass, he is no longer with us on this earth, but his podcast, the Here and Now podcast, is one of my favorites. And Sagittarius, you would connect with him because he was a Sag moon. And so like the way he speaks just resonates with you. So it's almost like start exploring these concepts, learning about different things that open your mind and shift your perspective, but in a way that brings very grounded energy, not scattered energy, because the shadow side is you'll get too scattered. If you're spreading yourself too thin, that's something we want to watch out for. Another way this might show up is it might show up for those who want to have a strong internet presence, social media presence. This is actually calling you to be so authentic in how you share your information with the world, and no longer fear that you won't be accepted. Be your most authentic self, and people will resonate with what you have to say. And because it's Pluto and Aquarius is like, yeah, I'm weird. You think I'm weird? Cool. Let's be weird together, right? So, you know, Sag and Aquarius, they like their freedom. They like kind of to be unique, but you're getting an extra boost, especially in the role of like social media and, you know, local community and conversations you have. Like, say the thing that you want to say and have the conversations that really shift your mindset, and like just make sure you just don't get too scattered. That's what Pluto's asking, is like, let's really, because it's Aquarius, it's fixed, so it's going to help you stay on course a bit better, because sometimes you can go off course and fly to somewhere else on the search of the next adventure, right? Capricorn, this is happening in your second house, and this is about your material world, your worth, your value, how you make money. And so over the next 20 years, those are some things that are going to be really changing for you. So I would anticipate that you might have some things that show up that has you questioning your worth, or you might be noticing where you're putting your worth, like giving your worth or determining your worth based on other people or material things, or how much money you make, or the things you have, right? So there's some transformation happening around your material possessions or material world, and also your self-worth. And Okay, one thing, Capricorn, you're going to resonate with this because I know you. You are ambitious go-getters and you are determined and you like to achieve goals, which I love. But in your search for recognition, in your quest to be known for being like an authority figure or mastering something, where are you putting too much of that, of your worth, tied to you getting that recognition or that outcome? Where are you getting too much of your value tied to an outcome connected to that? So pay attention to this because these are coming up for you. If you're so used to go, 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 burning out because you just have to prove yourself, where's that coming from? Because you don't have to prove yourself. You are worthy on your own. Okay? People value you for you being you, not for what you can achieve. And if there are people in your life, Pluto and Aquarius is saying, if there are people in your life that put a price on your value because you have to have achieved some goal for you to be worthy, those people are no longer to be in your life. You need to call in people that see your value off the bat and love that about you and boost that within you so that you know you don't have to work so hard to try to prove yourself. So that's the dynamic that's coming up for you, Capricorn. Okay, Aquarius. I mean, Pluto is in Aquarius, so get ready. Woo woo, get ready. I'm an Aquarius rising, and so I have been really loving this Pluto energy because Pluto is like, guess what? How you show up, how people see you, your style, your brand, your identity, the old you's gone. The new empowered you is coming to the surface. Are there people or things that disempower you? Get rid of them, right? Where are you giving away your power? Take it back. Another thing too with this energy is you don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. I know you feel it. I know you want the change. I know you see what's going on and you're like, what the fuck, right? Like, what is happening here? You don't have to carry that anymore. One thing I would say with Aquarius energy, the shadow side of Aquarius energy, is because they are air energy, they will disassociate a bit and kind of think more objectively or logically, and therefore kind of disconnect from their feelings. We want to merge the two. We want the heart. No, this is the heart. We kind of want them flipped, right? We want the heart and the mind talking. And then we want that energy, that where they meet, the heart and the mind meet, to be expressed out. We want people to see that, not just here, not just the objective viewpoint that Aquarius typically has. Aquarius, it's okay to show people that you have feelings. It's okay to show people that you feel very deeply, right? And not just think about things. And to show people that sometimes you're not all put together and sometimes you want people to accept you and you want to feel like you belong for who you truly are. And if there are people in your life that do not accept you for who you truly are, get rid of them. Or stop giving them so much of your energy. Because that's what Pluto and Aquarius is saying. It's like, this is a whole transformation on your identity. I'd also say there's a lot of deep work around the things in your life that have created the identity that you feel like you need to shed so that you can truly embrace your truth and authenticity. And it's beautiful. I mean, with Pluto and Aquarius, in your sign of Aquarius, you're just going to get weirder, and that is beautiful. And you're going to accept that your uniqueness, that your weirdness, that because you don't do things like the norm, that's actually really beautiful and such an important part of who you are. Okay, Pisces. All right. Aquarius, Pluto and Aquarius transiting through your 12th house is about, wow, a lot of release of deep psychological, unconscious programming and deep healing. So when you have Pluto transiting your 12th house, it really calls for you to have these transformative experiences on a very spiritual, soulful level. So you might feel like you want to seek more solitude or retreat or spiritual mentors or healers that help you get into that deeper work. Or you might find that you want to work in that realm, for example, that you feel really called to do deeper work. I mean, Pisces, naturally, you are a very spiritual, empathetic, compassionate, soulful person. And so you're naturally drawn. You're an emotional sponge. You're an empath. You take on everything around you. Boundary work with Pluto and Aquarius of like, we don't need to take on everybody's stuff, right? Let's have good boundaries so that we can show up for ourselves and heal our soul. And some of you might be really drawn to healing work, and that works on a very spiritual, soulful, deeper level than just the mind, right? You might really be called to more metaphysical, spiritual things as well. Naturally, you probably are in general, but if you haven't been, you've kind of pushed that aside. This might be your wake-up call to do some of that work, for yourself first. I mean, you've got 20 years, and then potentially maybe for other people. It's also showing where you might have some really strong karmic past life issues. And I wouldn't say issues, but like past life wounds, emotions that are carried over into this lifetime that might be repeating for you. And so doing some past life work actually would be something I would recommend for when we have Pluto transiting through our 12th house. We tend to be really drawn to that work, and that work can be really powerful and transformative during this time. So yeah, okay, that's it. I really hope that this resonates with you. Drop a comment if you have any questions. If let me know how you feel about this. But yeah, I really I honor and respect Pluto, and I'm hoping that after this you kind of have a little less fear around Pluto and a little bit more respect for just how powerful and important and transformative his transits and his actions in astrology can really benefit you individually. Okay, next time.